Hey, what's going on? This is K2. We're here today talking with Jeffrey Smith. He has a book out, Seeds of Deception. We're going to talk to him about genetically engineered foods and the industry and cover-ups that have been happening since back in the days, and talk about what we can do and the type of foods that we can have to prevent ourselves from getting sick and getting diseases that we don't need. Jeffrey?
Yes.
Why don't you start talking to us about when this started, like when the history of genetically modified food kind of came into the American value system, and when foods kind of started getting altered.
Okay. Well, it started around, commercialization started in 1996. Well, that's when they started harvesting and putting genetically modified soybeans and corn into our diet. But Monsanto had been developing it for a number of years, and they wanted to rush it onto the market long before the science actually was ready. So the FDA had a committee to evaluate GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and the scientists there, we know now from documents made public from a lawsuit, the scientists said that the GMOs could create allergies and toxins and new diseases and nutritional problems. They had urged their superiors to require long-term safety studies. But the person in charge of the policy of the FDA was Monsanto's former attorney and later their vice president. He ignored the scientists, denied the fact that there was even a concern in the agency, and created a policy which said that if Monsanto believes its own foods are safe, the FDA has no further questions. No application is necessary, no approval is done. They have a voluntary consultation process which is meaningless. And so the products were put on the market long before the science was ready. And in fact, studies and other things have shown that it's actually quite unsafe to consume.
What is the basic characteristics? What is the process of genetic modification of food and things?
Genetically engineered foods are where you take genes from one species and you artificially force it into the DNA of another. It's not an extension of natural breeding. It's something completely new and artificial. So for example, they've put spider genes into a goat in hopes that they can milk the goat to get spiderweb protein to use in bulletproof vests. They've used human genes to put into corn to make spermicide. They've put jellyfish genes into pigs so that their noses glow in the dark. And they put in a bacteria from the soil, a gene from a soil bacteria into corn to produce a pesticide, and we eat that pesticide in every bite when we eat that corn. They put another bacterial gene into soybeans so that you can spray the soybeans with Roundup herbicide, and it won't kill the crop, but it ends up causing the farmers to use a lot more herbicide, and also there's other problems. Now the way you do it, typically, is a gene gun. You put thousands of genes and you coat them onto little dust particles of gold, and you blast it into thousands of cells. So you're blasting thousands of genes into thousands of plant cells, hoping that some of those genes make it into the DNA of some of those cells. Only a few of them do. And then you grow the resulting cell by cloning into plants, and the process of cloning and tissue culture and blasting it in can cause hundreds or thousands of mutations in the DNA of the plant.
Right.
So there's all sorts of collateral damage. It's not like Legos where you just snap into place a new gene. And so it has all sorts of potentials to create carcinogens and toxins and allergens, but they don't check for it. The amount of studies that have been done has been criminal in its superficiality and limited scope. The FDA is officially charged with promoting the biotechnology companies. The White House gave them orders to do it in 2002. They're actually officially in charge now of promoting biotechnology. And they're the ones that are supposedly regulating the food supply. And the USDA promotes it, and the EPA promotes it. So we're in a situation where the fox is guarding the chickens, and we're eating the foods, which are soy, corn, cotton, which is used in cottonseed oil, canola, which is used in canola oil, and there's a little bit of zucchini and crookneck squash, and also Hawaiian papaya, and now alfalfa, which is being fed to cows. So those are the basic genetically modified commercialized food crops for animals or humans. There's also Quest brand tobacco. So to avoid eating genetically engineered foods, you have to either buy something that says organic, or buy something that says non-GMO, or buy something that has no soy, corn, cotton, or canola. Those are the big four.
Yeah.
Soy, corn, cotton, or canola at all if it's made in the U.S. Because if it's a vegetable oil made of soy, corn, cotton, or canola, it'll be from a mixture of GM and non-GM, because 89% of the soy in the U.S. is genetically engineered, about 60% of the corn, 75% of the canola, almost about 80% of the cotton. So basically, if it's a mixture of them all, it'll be genetically engineered.
Yeah.
So I don't eat, I look at the package, so it's packaged foods, a lot of them, especially the soy and corn derivatives, soy lecithin, soy protein isolate, high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, maltodextrin. These are things from corn that I don't eat, and a lot of people don't eat when they realize how dangerous this stuff is. So my book, Seeds of Deception, it's available at seedsofdeception.com. It's also the world's best-selling book on the subject, so it's in a lot of bookstores in a lot of countries, in a lot of languages. And that's easy, it's very accessible. It's story format. It's stories about scientists who have been fired, stripped of responsibilities, forced out, bribery attempts, things like that. So it's got the interesting X-File kind of stuff, and woven into that is a science. You go to seedsofdeception.com for a lot of other information. I have a monthly syndicated column called Spilling the Beans, totally free. You can sign up for that at seedsofdeception.com and look at the archived, and if you have your own website, you can throw those on there. You can reprint them. It's printed in a lot of places around the world. Genetic Roulette, coming out soon. Basically the expose on the science. And the GMO Trilogy is 2 DVDs and a CD. One's called Hidden Dangers in Kids' Meals. It is the tool that we use in our GM-free school campaign. Highly recommended for that.
All right, well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Sure.
Definitely, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Safe eating.
Yeah, thank you.